Namaste. Welcome, beautiful souls. Today I'm here to do a live and several contemplations in preparing for today's readings. And that has to do with the Sabbath this week, February 1st, February 2nd, Imbolc, and different contemplations of the dual both of the Uranus as well as the Saturnian energies influencing what's going on in the sign of Aquarius right now. And I've really felt a sense of discombobulation in the ether. And I really want to bring some peace and harmony and a sense of calm and patience with today's reading. That's really my intention. And while I have some reflections suggested below, I'm not intending this so much as a spread, but a deep reflection. So here we are at a time of year in the Northern Hemisphere when Mother Earth is awakening. And there definitely is a sense of unrest. I think both environmentally, physically, mentally, emotionally, every way. And so I'm just going to read what I typed this morning down below. Get myself. There's some words from the Goddess and Green Man, which is a wonderful site if you're not familiar with the Sabbats. And it says a little bit about what this Sabbat is, the time to let go of the past and look to the future, clearing out the old and making both outer and inner space for new beginnings. And this can be done in numerous ways, from spring cleaning your home to clearing the mind and the heart, and to allow inspiration to enter for a new cycle. And I think what I want to do with these readings today, regardless of your question, is really to invite a sense of calm and just patience. I think is also a really important word here. Imbolc is traditionally the great festival in honoring of Brigid, so loved as a pagan goddess that her worship was woven into the Christian church as Bridget. She is a goddess of healing, poetry, and smithcraft. And I find this really interesting. I'm going to use the Wildwood Tarot again today because while there are no swords in this deck, we begin this season of arrows, the suit of arrows at Imbolc in this deck, and that is the suit of air, traditionally the suit of swords. She is also a goddess of fire, the sun, and the hearth. She brings fertility to the land and its people and is closely connected to midwives and newborn babies. She also is known as the triple goddess, but at Imbolc, she is in her maiden aspect. And so here are my reflections for today, which I'm going to read in very much an integrated way, not so much as a first, second, and third card. How can I resist the temptation to disturb the seed? You know, when there's new growth in the earth, and we want to make sure that it's fertilized properly. Do we need to, kind of rake out things that we're not sure what are growing? And so there's this sense of wanting to make sure things are indeed on their way. How can I resist the temptation to disturb the seed? To trust that everything is exactly as it should be. And why is it so hard to leave well enough alone? 2, help me to understand my personal enough. And I suppose I should have put that in quotation marks. I have everything that I need here. And how can I better understand that to find peace and contentment with that? And number 3, enlighten me, teach me, show me what I need to know about silence and space and honoring the sacred. And so my intention is just to kind of weave that all together here today. Okay, so I want to welcome those of you that are strolling in, and thank you so much for joining me. Hello to Andrew, happy Imbolc. And I know some people do pronounce the B. It just feels so unnatural to pronounce it, but please forgive my pronunciation if that B is supposed to be pronounced. Hello to Sunny and Patricia, Mira, welcome. Saskia, Nivra, hello. I don't believe we have met. I can look on this chat here. There we go. D, welcome. It is a very interesting time we live in, D. Yes, and the full moon on Sunday, and this generally is a very potent time for me as the moon is waxing, and we are in this gibbous full moon, and perhaps because the moon today is also, I was going to say Mercury in Gemini. Yeah, it's a confusing energy. It really is. Aloha, Jonathan. Welcome. And Mira would like a reading, so we'll make sure Mira gets a reading today. I'll star yours. Um, oh, wonderful, Sonia. I'm seeing your comment there. So yes, we'll definitely get to you as well too. Mm, okay, and first time here. Okay, so is it a short I or is it a long I? So is it Nivra or Nivra? Let me know. Okay. And hello to TJ in Georgia. Welcome. You're new here as well too. All right. Leafy, long time no see. Hello, Leafy. Welcome back. And Donna's here. Donna squared. And Nivra. Okay, long I. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Yeah. All right. So let's do a reading for the collective. I just find that helps to center me. And then we will do readings. Okay. This is a reading for the collective on the 31st day of January, 2023, focusing on the reflections that have already been spoken. Help us all to find peace and tranquility, patience in this changing of seasons. Let us honor Mother Earth in her gestation period, and let whatever is growing for each and every one of us be nurtured and fed and sufficiently fertilized so we may experience it when it comes forth later on in the spring. As always, we ask these messages be in the highest for the greatest good and that no harm be done. So we'll also be looking for the significators that are around the time of this Sabbath, and I'll share those with you in a moment because I need to add the other camera. There we go. All right. The first card is the Guardian. And I kind of feel that sense of protection here. And I'm thinking about what Sunny asked and the sense of perhaps ancestral protection as well too. Um, and I want to read the first thought that I had. How can I resist the temptation to disturb the seed, to trust that everything is exactly as it should be? And why is it so hard to leave well enough alone? Hmm. You know, when I look at this card, I often reflect and there's a queen. I think it's the queen of fire, the queen of earth. It's the bear. It's the one that stands on the edge of the cave and looking out over the land. It's almost like that scene in The Lion King where Simba is looking out over that great expanse below Pride Rock. And here we're looking at this from a different perspective, and we're looking into the eyes of a spirit guardian, one who is protecting and perhaps I almost feel as if we're not ready. We're not energetically, we're not ready for the information. Energetically, it's better if we stay exactly as we are. And I think this card is in perfect alignment with what I've been sensing and the questions that were um, lots of vibes. Okay. And the questions that I posed for today's inquiry. And so with the Guardian card, I'm really picking up on that protective energy of the ancestors. It's as if there's a message from ancestor. There's something perhaps, and there's a lot of issues with different sort of wound healings, emotional, physical, mental wound healing is happening as well too right now. Uh, what this is telling me is that this wound, um, you can call it a pattern, you can call it a samskara. Some of you may be experiencing this as a physical wound or disability as well too, is carrying a lot of ancestral karma. And so part of your patience here is in the journey of this healing to allow it to fully take its course because there's things that are going on in the background that we don't even need to understand. Okay, so the ancestor, the card in the center, is one of the cards that is symbolic of Imbolc. So very auspicious that it's standing here and welcoming us. And the ancestor stands between the two trees, and you can hear. I want you to listen to the beat of the drum and allow this beat of the drum to very slowly begin to arise so that you feel this deep ancestral connection um, with your loved ones, and to know that the work that you do and the challenges that you are experiencing are not just your own. They're not just your own. And that word, is it gestation or gestation? Gestate. I think it's a J. Gestation. Such a funny word. Um, be kind to yourself. I almost used a different thumbnail today for the video, and it was just sort of pink waves, pink energy waves. It was more in alignment with what I was feeling right now. Is exactly what we need. We need that sense of calm and peace. And then we get the King of Arrows, and the King of Arrows is the one who leads in. So we all have two cards here. Yes, and the King of Arrows is also a card of this season. So in the Wheel of the Year, according to the Wildwood Tarot, we have two cards here that are spot on with timing. So I want to just read these two cards on one level as confirmation that we are exactly where we need to be. This is perfect timing, perfect alignment. Okay. Now the kingfisher is one also who is not impatient to catch their fish. The kingfisher is very, very skilled. And we talked about this last week because this bird, I believe, came up in a couple of readings. And this theme of not wasting energy is really important. And if you think about the nourishment of the seed needed, what is in development for each and every one of you. We want the idea of rest and patience is part of the healing process. It's part of the growing process. It's part of the nurturing process. And if we don't take our time and create the space for it to grow, it won't grow to its potential. You won't be able to experience its maximum benefit. Okay, so right now, just close your eyes and think of two or three things that you can do today to enjoy now, to be present now in this moment, not looking ahead, but being here. And I would suggest one of those things be self care and something to turn you inward and to make you feel a little calmer in your life. And then take inspiration, two inspirations here. One, the big picture inspiration of the kingfisher, who is very connected to the water and understands the relationship. Um, I'm sorry, I'm pausing because of something personal that happened, why I didn't do the thoth. Um, I was supposed to be on or before this, and I didn't come on because something arose, so I'm doing it later. But the card that we are talking about, which is the card for the first decan of Aquarius, is the Five of Swords, and which really kind of speaks to the energy a lot of us have been feeling at this time. It's also a five, and so I'm just feeling there's just a lot of things that are just kind of falling into place. So trust is really important here. I want you to trust. But another thing that, sorry, this is what I wanted to say. And I know this isn't a tarot lesson, but in the Five of Swords, um, if you're looking at a Rider-Waite-Smith clone, there's water in the background. And I'm looking at this kingfisher and I'm thinking about the the choices that the kingfisher makes serving the water and the close relationship with the water and what the water represents as far as going deep into our darkness, into our feelings, into our emotional body. And there's just something kind of magical, that's energy that's arising here. Okay, and then also the um, the ancestor connection here is very important. So please take this message really seriously, that no matter how disconnected you feel, no matter um, how much it hurts or how long you've been journeying with this, what you are going through is for others as well. And so if you can really wrap your head and heart around that, it makes it a little easier to find the patience and to find the trust and to perhaps amp up the self-care so the healing can be expedited when it is ready to be expedited. Now, the other connection with this card is that, yes, it reminds me of the bear. It's a queen card. It's just a beautiful card, and it's a sunny, sunny, bright card. I think it's a king of fire, but it might very well be the king of earth, the queen of earth. Yeah, it is the queen of stones. This is the card. This makes me think of. Um, and there's such a contrast here. But I love all the brilliant connections in this deck, and one of the reasons why this card is so important has to do with the 20th Arcanum as well too, where we see the great bear, a living great bear, or perhaps a great bear also in spirit, over a cave. And so I want you to know how protective this message feels. So very, you are protected. You're protected in spirit. And so this is another way that you can find comfort and solace and perhaps patience with with yourself, and with what you're processing at this time. Okay, thank you. And honestly, um, uh, I really want to send you tremendous warmth and love and light with whatever it is you are journeying through. Okay. Okay. Thank you very much, and welcome to Wara and Panchan. All right. No idea what seed to plant. All options. This is a reading for Mira on the 31st day of January 2023, honoring all the messages that have already come through on this bright day. Snowed here last night, this morning, so as predicted last week, back in it. The Green Man, that's a lovely card to come up for a Sabbath. Okay, all right, Green Man. Sorry. The Woodward. So two majors and the Queen of Vessels. So you might want to write down, if you're focusing on the thoughts and the questions that I have offered up today, you might want to write them down and put them at the top of a journal page, and then you can respond to the cards yourself as well too, in terms of how I'm responding to them. And if you look at the Green Man in this card, there is this active sense of, the Green Man almost looks like it could be a magician card or a temperance card, or the Green Man is active. The Green Man is creating and is participating in, I feel like, the process. So there's a definitely an honoring of the process here. And in this particular deck, there is no separation between the green woman and the green man. They appear together. One is not first, one is not second. They are written about so beautifully as a dynamic reflection of each other. And I think that's an important thing to know about this deck. So if you want to refer to this as Emperor energy, this is also Empress energy. So there's a very powerful sense of creation and development and expansion. So your seed, Mira, it feels old, it feels well established, and it feels it has that milestone kind of energy, especially in conjunction with the card that is in the center, which would be the equivalent of a strength card. And one of the things I love about the woodward is there's also that level of protection. So the woodward is another guardian of the forest, much like the ancestor that we saw in the previous reading that also sat at the center of the reading. So there is a sense of you being watched over and protected. But also when I look at the relationship between the primal energies as well as the physical energies, and nourishing that inner fortitude feels important on a physical level at this time as well too. Um, and I'm quite taken by the fact that even though I said there's no separation between the green man and the green woman, that we have a masculine energy on the left and we have a very strong feminine energy on the right. Salmon is water of water, and the green man energy carries a strong fiery energy, and he comes up in the wheel of the year at the summer solstice. So lots of fire. So there's this the very strong fire energy, very strong watery energy. So I would say how you can remain patient is um, by the act of creation. You know, this would feel like a good time to be. I'll use soup as an example, just looking at his cauldron there, but you could be making anything. Metaphorically, you are making a pot of stew or a pot of soup as a metaphor for what is growing beneath the surface for you at this time. Okay, and this is, if you look at this medicine as a helping you to find a new strength, find a new um, independence is a word that's coming through as well too. A new sense of independence, and there is so much strength, of course, in the card on the right. Let's go to the other prompts. Hmm. I mean, this this deck does have a strong sense of connection in all directions of time, for sure. And I'm wondering what this maternal connection is, or this maternal connection. And because the theme came up in the first reading, I wonder if there is. I just the card is so strong energy of, returning home, returning to the homeland, returning to the motherland, returning to the place that you were born. And so this metaphor can take on anything from healing a birth wound to learning more about the time that when you were, ooh, this would be really good, Mira, to, I don't know how many of you have done this, if you actually researched your mother's experience when you were ensemble, when you were in the room. Was your mother working? Was she traveling? What were the living conditions? What was she eating? Who was she around? What was she doing? What was she listening to? How was she supported or unsupported? I feel like this might be something for you to grow and develop, almost as if you are. You know, it's really interesting. Through journeying, we can experience this. We can go back and we can be the fetus in the womb, and we can listen and learn and reconnect to this. But um, kind of going in circles here with you, Mira. Um, there's definitely something that is being cultivated here that is going to ask more of you than, or perhaps another way to look at that is you will be able to bite off more than you think you can. You are you are stronger than you think you are. You will be able to go deeper into this than you think you can. Um, this is big, and this is broad, and um, this is for a lot of people. And I really feel like it will take you to the motherland. What that means for you, I'm not exactly sure. Sorry, I haven't been seeing if you've made any comments as I've been rambling on here. Okay, so the third part of that was about peace and sacred. So also be mindful of the while it's not water that's in the cauldron, there is a component of water there, but also on the right side. So the energy of water feels important, and I would say that, yeah, and I'm sure a lot of you have who've worked with me and understand, um, the kind of readings that I do. Sometimes we need to practice something in a three-dimensional way. So we make a stew, we make a soup. but we also make magic at the same time. We we allow the experience to manifest whatever spirit is wanting us to manifest. And I know this is really hard because there's nothing really tangible here. So be in process. Know that this may take you back to mother. And I almost feel as if she's calling you. And there's a tremendous level of protection here. Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you, Mira. Bye, Jonathan. All right. You have been researching your ancestry and uncovered an unknown Scottish line that you can follow back to the early 1000s. Okay. You're welcome, Mira. Hmm. This is a reading for Sunny, connecting her to her Scottish ancestors. Hmm. The element of air is really important here. And I feel as if perhaps the way that you will connect with them is through air. And of course, we can apply this to breath work, but I'm also thinking that this has to do with open wide spaces. So we have King of Vessels, Eight of Vessels, Nine of Vessels. Okay. Oh, that Nine of Vessels in this deck is just really, really something. Okay. Can I say something kind of cheesy? And that is emotionally, they are very excited. And their cup is full. They are emotionally overwhelmed that you have made this connection. There is an abundance of emotion that is flowing through this reading. All right. Um, by looking deep, no, not deep. And I'm not even feeling so much water here, but I'm just hearing the word reflection. So by looking at your reflection, and if you were to look at your reflection, isn't this interesting? I'm just going through this whole Lion King thing that went through my head in the previous reading, or maybe it was for the reading for the collective, because that happens in that movie as well too. All right, and I have another thing that's just flashing through my mind, and that has to do with have you done the type of mirror work where usually it's done in the dark? You can do it with a candle, and you look into the mirror, and you when you look at your face kind of transforms, and you can see people's faces and other lives that you have lived in this kind of work. Your ancestors want you to reflect, to look at your reflection, to know that you are a reflection of them. Um, okay. Holy cow. Um, there is a secret. There is a hmm, I felt like my throat just got so there's your message in a nutshell is that there is a very emotional secret that was never revealed. Uh, there's mysteries and things that weren't shared. And so your uh, and I don't know what I don't know you, so your emotional release, your practice of emotionally letting go. I have to come back to the voice. The way that you share, and the more that you share, and the um, it's really important that you find the flow of your own truth and that you reveal your own truth, that you don't keep secrets from your children, from your husband, from your parents, from people that you care. It's really important that you are transparent and that you find your voice. And you know that in the revealing of your own authenticity, somehow you are helping your ancestors to let go of that which they were not able to let go of. Your emotional releases, and I keep coming back to the voice. So your emotional releases are spoken. They come through the voice. And the more um, honest and heartfelt you can be with these experiences, like this is your work. This is your work right now. And there's a son. Um, there's a son who this is very, very important to. Aren't they? Yes. Herons are the personification of patience. Okay. All right, Sunny. That is for you. Thank you. Mm. Nivra. Nivra. Is the crystal grid class you plan on taking in May part of a new journey in career? This is a meeting for Nivra on the 31st day of January 2023. The sacred time of Imbolc as the earth is awakening. Mm. I have this sense of taking several mandalas. You could have the flower of life, the Sri Yantra, Metatron's cube. Actually, I see three. And usually, when you take a grid class, it starts from a very basic level, gridding corners of your yard. It can be very simple. It doesn't have to be complicated. But I'm seeing you with three quite complex mandalas in front of you. You hold a pendulum, and it's like you're making a decision, which is the frequency that is gonna be your guide through this journey. Um, There's a particular geometric shape, and I'm thinking it's the flower of life that wants to be your guide. Mhm. Alright. Is this part of a career? Yeah, so how does this crystal class gonna develop? What's it gonna develop into? Okay, so I'm getting yes. I'm getting yes, Nivra. But let's get some more messages. Nivra, sorry, Nivra. Forgive me for okay. Never underestimate the power of and it's almost like I'm seeing a crystal grid on that drum. Never underestimate the power of a grid to restore balance and not to put any more intention into a crystal grid than that. So we set up a grid and it's like the grid restores frequency. And I almost think that's how these things work. You lay out the grid and where there is like it's you know what I mean? Like it regulates balance. It regulates the frequency of whatever it is that you are working with. And I guess part of this message is um, I'm feeling a very strong yes here. There is potential. There is a lot of potential and building energy here. Um, I love that this nine of uh, cups is shown up again. To me, it's one of the most divine cards in the tarot. The triple three connected to the element of water and all of that. What else do I want to say here? Okay, here's a random thought. Is it possible there are so many unfulfilled potentials of crystal grids, and this random thought that as I was looking, at the 3 of bows and what jumped off that card at me was, are the snakes that are on the tunic of the woman standing in front of the tree, and how important the could you use crystal grids to help healing in relationship? If you were a counselor or someone who worked with couples in couples therapy, could a crystal grid help to restore and be set up to restore the dynamics of a relationship, bringing emotional fulfillment? I mean, if you want to read that all as one complete sentence. So you asked a yes or no question. My answer is yes. And I think the theme of that yes is in restoring balance. Um, I would have never, ever thought, I've never even had this notion before of using crystal grids in couples therapy. You worked as a biologist now, energy healer, and holistic coach. So, if a client were to set up a crystal grid to help restore and bring harmony to family, would this be a subversive energy? Could this be construed as being controlling or manipulative? And I think the intention is so very important here. The intention is really important. And I want to tell you a story, Libra, about um, a single crystal that um, and it was all about the intention. So, and I may have shared this before on my channel, but I had a backyard neighbor whose music I did not care for very much, especially in the good weather. And so I put some intention into bringing peace and harmony, not getting them to turn off their music and, expressing my anger, but I just wanted to let nature, let nature find peace. And it was within a matter of hours that the tone of the music changed, the frequency, the volume, everything changed. And ever since then, which was many years ago, I've never had that feeling of, "Oh, I wish they would turn that music off." It's always something that I kind of resonate with. So the intention piece is really important here. And I want you to be really creative with this. I think there's a lot of freedom here for this is bizarre. This is really bizarre, Nivra. Like I'm thinking everything I'm seeing here speaks to couples counseling and being a mediator and letting the grids mediate. So that might be a word that you want to sit with. Crystal grids as mediators, taking the practice of gridding to a whole new level. Okay, that's great. TJ in Georgia is next. Okay. All right, TJ in Georgia. Hmm. Imbolc blessings to you, TJ. That was so inspiring, Nivra. Yeah, that was amazing. Mhm. Okay. Hmm. Once again, this is a reading for TJ in Georgia on the 31st day of January 2023, reflecting on the contemplations of the Lord. As always, we ask these messages be in the highest for the greatest good and that no harm be done. So be it. Okay. First card is the Ace of Stones. Six of Stones, Seven of Arrows. Okay. So I'm going to read the cards individually in terms of the questions and then just kind of blend it all together for you. Okay. It's such a extraordinary Ace of Earth. It's so big. It's so big. It's so old. And it's standing right in front of you. And I can imagine you finding something like this somewhere where you are and going to visit it on a near daily basis and placing your hands on the stone and closing your eyes and just breathing in and breathing out and finding connection with this old stone. This also you could also do this with, um, maybe you go for a walk at the river or the beach and you pick up a rock and you decide that this rock is gonna be your grounding, your inspiration for the next few weeks. And so when I think of ways to find patience with what is what spirit is was growing and developing for you at this time, we need to find ways to trust. And I think both of these suggestions are really powerful. I can feel the energy in my hands starting to grow. So this is something you do both, using a metaphorical rock as your way to connect to trust and connect to spirit and patience and all of that. Help me to understand my personal enough to find peace and to find contentment. This is a very hard card in this deck. It's a very difficult card. It is a reflection of the six of fire, six of bows, and six of bows is summer solstice, and six of stones is winter solstice card. And they they reflect one another. And one is a card of abundance, and the other is a card of the result of not using that resource properly. And so there's a sense of things being, uh, what's the word? Like you over harvest the garden, and it doesn't come back quite the same. So there's a sense of, I think let's just use that word. There's a sense of over harvesting. The other part of that too is that when we are full of abundance and we don't share it sufficiently, it doesn't tend to come back in quite the same way. Okay, so now I need to go back to relate this to this question. Help me to understand my enough to find peace and contentment. Perhaps this is a lesson for you in I feel as if there is someone who didn't share with you, who didn't honor their abundance. Um, there's also something for you here too that might be deeply connected to summer and winter solstice and that particular reflection. Um, so how can we find peace in this card? The earth, nature will find its way. Uh, there's a guilty component here that wants to be released as well. Don't feel guilty for your mistake, perhaps. Um, that is not something that will nourish you and help you through this time of growth. There is a renewed growth that is on its way, that is finding connection. And I feel as if Spirit is giving you a second chance. Spirit is giving you an opportunity to, like quite a beautiful do over here. And so the lesson of community feels really to be participating in community and connecting with community so that as this gift, as this seed reveals itself, it finds its way into the hands of many, not into the hands of one. I feel that both the central card and the card on the right have a touch of woe is me, victim mentality kind of thing, and why does everything happen to me? And I think this reflection, the reflection, this shift of energy that spirit is wanting to cultivate in you is to understand more about life happening for you, not to you. And another reason for the really large stone is to understand, even though you are just a speck in the big picture, your responses really matter. I feel like this is inviting in a tremendous amount of gentleness and asking you to, um, what is it asking you to let go of? Um, I feel as if you took on too much responsibility. Uh, you didn't ask others to help you. Um, Perhaps you're not feeling as strong as you once did. There's a sense of deflation here, personal like self-deflation. And so this time, please be reassured that you really do have an opportunity here to restart, to renew, to rebirth and regrow, um, that which wasn't properly cultivated previously. It will not be exactly the same. It will be different. And so any exercises or practices or counseling or anything that you can do to restore a sense of empowerment and take yourself out of victim, the sense of being a victim is really important here because you are a powerful creature and your guides want you to learn to trust again. And so, like I suggested with a previous reading, is to you can write these questions down at the top of a page and just do some free writing with these, reflecting on these thoughts and anything else that has arisen um, as I was speaking. Okay, as the messages were coming through. Thanks, TJ. Namaste. Mm. Thanks, Donna. You're welcome, TJ. All right. Can we all please hold light, love, and support around TJ during this time of transition? This is a reading for Leafy on the 31st day of January 2023. How will Leafy's journey with Jay evolve? How will Leafy's journey with Jay evolve? Okay. Oh, call him in. Mhm. The call of the wild. Call him in. He's calling you. Call him. Interesting. This feels very much like the upcoming full moon this weekend. So we have the King of Stones, we have the Queen of Bows, and the Ten of Bows. Hmm. So many things I could say here. I don't know which one to say first. One very kind of impulsive message was that you will jump into something together quite quickly. I could see you ending up with a mortgage that is well beyond your means and feeling the weight of that. That was something that came to mind. Like you, all of a sudden, you suddenly commit to each other and decide to, yeah, buy a house or some equivalent of that story. There is a very It's lovely that 2 court cards have shown up here, reflecting the energy of 2 dynamic, strong, healthy partners in a relationship. One partner being very, not only connected to the earth, the environment, understanding, flow of cycles and nature, but also being able to perhaps provide and create a sense of space, a sense of home and creating a safe space for family. But then the partner being a great like this is a great combination. Um, the Queen of Bows is dynamic and can sometimes while this is a wolf and wolves move. Um, all of the court cards are healthy creatures in this deck, but the Queen of Bows is going to keep the King of Stones on his feet, so to speak, gonna keep him moving, and it's a lovely dynamic energy. And so I would say the cautionary tale here is to be careful to not take on too much. Be careful not to take on too much. The mountain, what is and I'm so fascinated with this deck because the relationship between air and fire and what is being created and the metaphor of creating the bow is such a powerful metaphor. And here we see this is not just a picture about somebody carrying sticks up a mountain, but if you imagine at the top of that mountain is a sacred fire where the wood will be warmed so that the bows can actually be formed and created. I feel like there's a lot that's coming forth for you. It's your this is a sorry, this is an empathic message for you. This is about your it's really important. You are clear. Your intentions are clear on both parts, and that you hold space for Jay, so Jay can be completely transparent with you. That's really important here. And then the other layer is that the 2 of you have the fortitude, you have the strength to endure, challenges together. So if one of you were to lose a parent or lose a job, the other will be there to hold space for you and to honor whatever it is that you need during that time. So it feels very powerful. Hi, Laura. Okay. Thank you, Leafy. Hmm. All right. Looks like Andrew is up next. And this will be the final reading for today. For those of you that weren't here at the beginning, I encourage you to scroll down and look at the description below, going all the way down to where it says reflections for Imbolc. Um, I think these are these are wonderful journaling prompts or else questions, perhaps to reflect on over the next few days. You just before you go to bed. And if I didn't say so, Leafy, you are welcome. Andrew. So as you're aware, the Page of Arrows is the one who sends us into the season of right and building. So there's an end of spring message here. This is also the little bird that appears in the Hermit card. Um, and this um, feels little. It feels gentle. It feels like you really need to pay attention. Um, the message the message is very subtle. The message is very subtle. It's so quiet, you might not be able to discern it. I'm feeling as if this reception will be, like you'll feel it empathically. You'll feel it on your skin. All right. So, what did you even ask me? I'd love any messages, advice from a recent ancestral guide I've met. Thank you. Okay. Can we go back to and expand on the metaphor of the archer? And I'm just heard the word fitness, Andrew. I think your fitness is really important. And I don't want to kind of skip over the central card, but I feel um, it's important to, if we're going to weave that second and third card together, I feel like your physical strength, your stamina is really important here. And if you think about the whole archery metaphor, right, the drawing back of the bow and the releasing of the bow, the whole process is really important, and it's gonna require, um, I don't know why, I have no idea why I'm focusing on athleticism here, but it feels kind of important. Like your physical body want your ancestors want your physical body to be healthy, and the healthier you are, the clearer this will be. Now, if we look at the specific energy of the archer, and what is the date for the archer, which is also so the timing of these 2 cards, Andrew, like, this is kind of a cool reading, actually. We could say that around Beltane, you will find the love of your life sort of message, you know? Um, so if we wanna kind of expand on that, and again, like in the last reading, I feel there's a bit of an uphill climb here, and the more effort and the more energy you put into this, the easier it will be. I'm also seeing something very kind of bizarre here, and if you look, the page of arrows and the archer are moving in opposite directions, and the water that is flowing down the stone in the central card is evenly divided, and I'm wondering if your your heart, your emotions can go either way. It's almost as if you won't know which direction to go. So I would say kind of putting that all together, listening, like being guided by your heart is very important here. Let your heart be open. Get to know your emotions. Listen to your emotions and then go for it. So there's that layer, but not but and there's that physical endurance quality message that is also a part of this. So this might be a message like, like you have to go for the duration of the take it all the way. Go for the duration. Now, if this weren't about a relationship, what is it in evolving? What is in full unfolding for you will inc- will feel emotionally significant and will require your full attention. Ah, that's what that message is. So your full attention, your full presence. This is not a time to be scattered. It is not a time to be scattered. Okay. So can you work with that? Hannah's falling asleep. Well, I hope you have a very lovely sleep. Um, just bear with me. I want to just open up something here. Mhm. Okay. Okay. I think we're good. Okay. And I didn't see when Virginia came in, Burning Dreamer, but thank you. I just saw the last comment. And if there's anybody that I missed in today's chat, know that there's components of these messages that are for you as well too. And so it's important to trust and to take some time to journal and reflect on whatever touched you in whatever way. Maybe there was an image or a word or something that repeated in a couple of readings. Know that that was for you as well too. Okay. You're welcome, and Donna, thank you so much for all that you do. I will be back shortly to talk about the Five of Swords in the Thoth-inspired series. And tomorrow, I'm back with Full Arc Ghosts, as well as a deck review, and I have several new decks to me. Um, and I haven't decided which one I will unpack, but I'm likely going to be, I think I'm going to do a walkthrough of the Wee Moon Tarot and initial impressions. So that will be up for that will be up for tomorrow. So have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you all very soon. Namaste.